Hello everyone, my name is Sunny Paris. Now, a thing to know about me is that I love Marvel movies. By that, I mean the Marvel Cinematic Universe that's been going on for a whopping 12 years now. I love the characters, the story, and how interconnected everything is. So, in honor of this franchise, I decided to make a video in the style of Jello Apocalypse's 10 words or less format with the movies from the MCU. That means every single theatrical release, from the first Iron Man movie to Spider-Man Far From Home. That also means none of the short films or any of those TV shows. Sorry, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All movies will be ranked on a scale of whole numbers out of 10 with negative scores for ironic enjoyment, because as Jello says, sometimes bad is better than boring. Oh, and there will also be some spoilers as well, just to let you know. Let's get started. Now that's what I call a comeback. Now back to your regularly scheduled Marvel mediocrity. It's really not that bad, guys. This really needed more Loki and Darcy. Would Steve and Bucky just kiss already? More avenging, less infighting, please. If someone complains about the Mandarin one more time, I just couldn't bring myself to care. Replace supers with spies and nothing changes. This should not be as funny as it is. Okay, what did I just say about less infighting? I should see more heist movies if they're this fun. This is both awesome and painful at the same time. LSD, eat your heart out. Same fun, but a little more wobbly story-wise. Peter Parker has ADHD, changed my mind. See, this is what you do with Thor. Okioi is awesome and I love her. How to give the internet PTSD without really trying. It's fine. Not perfect, not terrible, just fine. I love everything 3000. Peter's never gonna catch a break, is he? And that's all of them. Now, you guys don't nearly have the patience to scroll through the Google Sheets I put down in the description, so instead, I will personally tell you my top and bottom 5, well, alternating between the two. 5th best, 5th worst, 4th best, 4th worst, etc. Alright, number 5 best. Iron Man 3. This one tends to be people's least favorite of the trilogy, and I never quite understood why. Tony's struggles with PTSD after the events of the last movie feels in character and relatable, the fight scenes are action-packed and memorable, and RDJ continues to shine as Tony Stark. The only real complaint tends to be about the Mandarin and his twist, but I found it to be pretty clever and interesting. Plus, Ben Kingsley is entertaining either way, so these people have nothing to complain about. Number 5 worst. Captain Marvel. Now, hold up. Before anyone in the comment section starts a flame war, I'm not saying this movie is bad. I have some things I liked about it. Fury and Carol's relationship was fun and interesting. The fight scenes can be fun. And the twist with the Skrulls is interesting if you're a comic fan, unlike me. What kills parts of it for me is that it can get boring. When I first saw this, I actually forgot the Kree were a thing. And once Carol levels up, the fights just aren't as fun. But It's still decent overall, and a lot of the hate this film gets is vastly overblown. Number 4 best. Thor Ragnarok. Oh, this is Thor at his best. Ragnarok takes everything about the movies people complained about and made this previously more serious character a lot more fun, very witty, and charming in a way not done by any of the prior movies. All of the characters managed to get some good lines in, and the music choices get me grooving every single time. Good job, Takia. May your directing future be bright. Number 4 worst. Iron Man 2. Like Captain Marvel, this isn't necessarily a totally bad film. It has some good elements like the contrast between the villain and Tony, Tony's overall character arc, and the intro with Black Widow plus more Phil Coulson. But there are also some downsides to those good things. Ivan doesn't really have a big presence, Tony's arc is narratively pointless, and there's not nearly enough of Phil Coulson or Natasha as much as people would like, but I still had some fun moments and wouldn't mind watching it again. Number 3 best. Winter Soldier. Now this is a great movie. It essentially takes the Marvel characters we all know and puts them in a spy thriller. And it works. All of the action sequences are incredibly well done and epic, and the message of freedom versus security is one needed in our times more than ever. But personally, my favorite part of the movie was the relationship between Natasha and Steve. They work so well together as heroes and just as friends in general. It's a real shame we never really saw them work on that level since. Number 3 worst. Thor 1. Now, normally, I love the fish out of water plotline. Tends to be one of my favorites. There's so much potential comedy, along with some very interesting setups. So how the heck did Marvel manage to make one of my favorite plot lines boring? Well, by tending to focus more on Loki's daddy issues while intriguing. Not even Tom Hiddleston can keep interesting for long. Plus, making most of the human characters, for Darcy, rather boring, along with some equally boring fight scenes. Those few moments with Darcy are just not enough to keep this away from being the most boring fish out of water story I've seen in my life. Number 2 best. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. By all logic, this movie should not have worked out. Even among comic nerds, their names were not very well known, and the lead actor at that point was famous for TV. And yet, we ended up with one of the funniest superhero movies of all time, with characters everybody knows now, and plenty of action and adventure, along with a simple yet intriguing story, which may be why I felt the sequel was a tad weaker on that aspect. Number 2 worst. Thor: The Dark World. Yet another Thor movie, what a surprise. Remember what I said about how boring the first one could be? Well, somehow they managed to get less Darcy, less Loki, and a plot that's much more boring. To give you an idea of how boring this movie is, I was more invested in Thor in the first 5 minutes of Ragnarok than I was with him in the entirety of Dark World. The only benefit to this movie is that there's some moments that keep it from being totally pointless on a narrative level, but other than those, there's not much to be gained from seeing this. And for the number 1 best movie in the MCU is Avengers Endgame. After the heart-wrenching experience that was Infinity War, the people at Marvel would have to do something incredible to make up for shattering our hearts. And they did so with flying colors. While I don't agree on all the choices made for the characters, they somehow feel right given what we've seen of them thus far, and everything overall just feels like the proper send-off for this arc of the MCU. And my number 1 worst MCU movie is The Incredible Hulk. Looks-wise, this is the worst of the MCU. Hulk in this movie looks like he came straight out of a video game, and the characters have about as much life as puppets. Watching this movie, it's clear why Norton got replaced with Ruffalo, because Norton does not act like the Bruce Banner we would be familiar with. But I think the worst part about it is how this whole movie is completely skippable. I mean, say what you will about Dark World, the plot becomes relevant later on. This movie is totally unnecessary as an origin because everybody already knows how the Hulk came to be, and almost nothing from this movie has any effect on the MCU as large, which in my opinion is what makes this the worst of the bunch. And that's everything. I hope you enjoyed watching. Bye-bye!